There's no question that we're living in a divided world. Issues such as abortion, vaccination, and the presidential race brings with it lots of discourse and debate. However, not all of that discourse is civil. Students, staff, and alumni at Binghamton University are taking a productive step in learning how to have civil discourse. Journalist and entrepreneur Monica Guzman led a workshop on campus focusing on how we can have these types of conversations without letting our emotions get in the way.
If we notice that we have a repulsion to that, but then we go, hang on, I want to learn more. I want to make sure I'm not misperceiving something. Let me ask a question. Let me take a breath. Because if we just let ourselves be carried away by our reactions and our emotions, that's not the best politics, right? And that's certainly not the best way to be.
Those attending the workshop got the opportunity to dive into tough issues while keeping an open mind and leaning into their curiosity.
I think the most important thing is curiosity connects people. It allows people who may think differently about things to look at each other and say, you matter, and I care about you, and I want to learn more about you.
Guzman comes from a politically divided family. She says even though they disagree on certain issues, they are able to learn from each other. Guzman uses that insight to help others to put aside their differences and look at highly political issues from a different perspective.